stars are moving, except for one, except for this star, Polaris, because Polaris is aligned with the axis of Terra. And we find it by using the Great Dipper and the backside, drawing a line, making it 7 times as long, and then we find it easily. At this moment, the axis of Terra is pointing nearly towards Polaris. But about 13,000 years ago, it pointed to a totally different star, the star Vega in the Lyra system. And one full orbit, because the Earth is like a tumbling, like this, a full orbit, a full tumble, takes 25,920 years. And Plato called that a great year. And it's officially called the precession of the equinoxes. Now it's nearly pointing to Polaris, then it makes a circle, goes all the way here to Vega, and then it goes back through Tuban and then to Polaris again. One full circle is nearly 26,000 years. Here we see the circle again. In the middle of the circle we find the constellation of Draco, dragon. And the tail, Tuban, is on the tail of the dragon. Please look that Mrs. Rowling in the Harry Potter books refers to Draco Malfoy. Yeah, or it's related to this, this constellation. Here we see the 12 constellations again. So each period takes 2,160 years. That's one constellation, or one eon, or era, or age. You can all use the same words. Yeah, one eon is this time. And 3 eons together form a great season, great winter or great spring. And the total is this amount, nearly 26,000 years. And we have each eon after one another. We're now here at the end of the eon of Pisces, and we are about to enter the eon of Aquarius. Starting with the eon of Leo, we enter the dark period. This is nearly 13,000 years of dark period. And when we enter the age of Aquarius, we start the light period again. So then we have 13,000 years of light. It's very important. We could call this autumn, this winter, this spring, and this summer, but for the great year. Why is that caused? It has to do with the orbit the sun Helios makes. We see here Terra orbiting around Helios in a full year time. But Helios itself also makes an orbit. And that orbit takes very long. The orbit goes clockwise. This goes counterclockwise, this one goes clockwise. And an orbit takes nearly 26,000 years. And what is the reason for this orbit? It's caused by Sirius. Also in the Harry Potter books and films. Sirius Black. Yeah? I think Miss Rowland knew about everything. Sirius is the dance partner, because those two stars keep themselves in the orbit of their own circle. Sirius also makes a circle, and when we draw a line, this line always goes through the middle of this. No matter where they are, the middle of this line is always here. And on January the 1st, Terra is exactly on that line. That's why we celebrate New Year. New Year is a realignment of Helios, Terra, and Sirius. Many people who believe in Christianity use this symbol. What does this symbol mean? This symbol is just the overlap of this circle and the other circle. So this is in fact the orbit of Helios, of the Messiah, of the Lightbringer, that part. And that part is the orbit of Sirius, the other star. That's what this symbol in fact means. So it's very true. This is about the Messiah. But it's the Lightbringer. It's Helios. It's the sun. At this moment, when Helios is here, and Sirius is here, and then the distance is closest. At the other time, when Helios is here, and Sirius is here, and the distance is furthest away. This is a demarcation line. Here we see another one. And we have now 4 periods. This period is called the Golden Age, the Golden Period. Then we have the Silver Period, then the Bronze Period, and then the Iron Period. We are now the end of the Iron Period. And we are soon to enter the Golden Period, the Golden Age. You can say this is spring, this is summer, this is fall, and that is winter. Let's draw new lines from this point where both circles meet through the center, and also here where both circles meet through the center. Why is this so important? By doing so, we divide the circle of Helios into 6 equal parts. What does that mean? The total was nearly 26,000 years, but if we divide it by 6, we get 4,320 years. This is a very important number, 4320. 432 will come back in many times. Many people know about 432 hertz, vibrations per second. It's a very important number, and it is in the precession cycle, in this great year time. Let's draw more lines. Yeah, we draw also these two. Now we get 12 different parts. And these are of course the eons or the ages. So we're now about to enter the period of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, and at the other side we find the eon of Leo. And the clock of Giza is all about this third dimension of time, about the great year. I've been there myself, but the guy who was showing me around did not know exactly what he was talking about. That's what I think. For instance, we find in the measurements of the Great Pyramid a very special relation with the measurements of the total planets of Terra. The height is exactly related to the radius of Earth, and the circumference on the base of the pyramid is related to the circumference of Terra. And this is the ratio. Again, we see this number. The builders of the pyramid try to show us that this number is related to the precession cycle. That's why they use this ratio. At the base, the Great Pyramid has this height, 440 cubits. A cubit was the unit of measurement the pyramid builders used, and the height is 280 cubits. When we add two sides at the base up and we divide it by the height, we get a very good approximation of pi. 1 cubit is between 25.35 meters and 25.36 meters. It's somewhere in between. Some say this, others say that. But the truth is in the middle. Because 1 cubit is exactly pi divided by 6 meters. That is the shocking truth. The builders of the pyramid knew everything about pi. Long before Archimedes discovered it. At least 22 centuries before. Maybe before Archimedes also people knew about pi, but this pyramid was much, much earlier built. So this is very shocking news. When we take the base of the Great Pyramid and we draw a circle inside and we draw another one circle outside, exactly hitting the 4 corners, then we find the difference in length between both circles, this number. That is nearly exactly the speed of light in megameters per second. When we take the half of the base and we take the length of the diagonal line, then we find phi, the golden mean. So the golden mean is present, the measurements of the Earth is present, the speed of light is present, all present in the measurements of the Great Pyramid. So what the pyramid builders did was show us this great year, and they gave us a lot of clue that they didn't build it by accident. There's a lot of symmetrical relationships inside. Most people know there are 3 big pyramids in Gizeh, but there are also a number of small ones. Here we see the 3 small ones, next to the smallest big one. This is a top view. Here we see the 3 bigger ones. This is the biggest pyramid. Here we see 3 small ones, and here we see another 3 small ones. And there are more. Here's even one more, and also there's one more. So in total there are 11 pyramids next to the Sphinx. If you look carefully, you can see the Sphinx here, the Great Sphinx. Here we see a map of it. What does it mean? Let's count the small pyramids. Here we find 3, here we find 1, and here we find 4. What does it mean? This means, of course, pi. The pyramid builders were showing us pi. Pi means the ratio between the circumference of a circle and the diameter. So let's draw that circle. Here we see that circle. It exactly hits the northeast corner of the big pyramid, the greatest pyramid. Also here, and the Sphinx is sitting with its bottom on top of the circle. So that can't be a coincidence. But there's more. When we draw a square inside the circle, there's only one square fitting horizontally inside the circle, and that's this one. It goes exactly over the sides of the Great Pyramid and also on the lower side, the south side of the smallest, bigger pyramid. What are the odds? There's more. We can draw a diagonal from this point of the square to this point, and the diagonal goes straight through the middle, exactly through the middle of the middle greatest pyramid. Most people don't know about this point, and that's why they think this one is a little bit offline and that one is totally offline. No, that's not true. It's exactly right. I think this map is not totally correct because the lines I'm drawing are not perfect. I think that in real, this line also goes to the top corner of that pyramid. Because this is a top view, but you can see the picture is taken from here, from the top. So you see a little bit not straight from a top. And this is what we find on Google Maps. Yeah, it's not a perfect match, but you can almost see it. So I think we should take a really good map and then redraw all the lines. When we draw a line from this corner to the bottom of the Sphinx, it goes straight to the middle of the lowest, bigger pyramid. By doing so, we divide the full circle into 1/3 and the other one is 2/3. So that means that this is a side of a perfect triangle. Here we see it. And the other perfect triangle starts in the top pyramid, in the northeast corner of the biggest pyramid, of the Great Pyramid. So this is a very ancient symbol. It's a symbol, the seal of Salomo. It's very beautiful that it's present on the Gizeh Plateau. And why is that? Because it's a clock. And the clock goes this way, goes counterclockwise. And the full circle is nearly 26,000 years. This is the moment Leo started. Then it became dark. And this is the moment where Aquarius will start. Then it will be light. So this is the dark period, half a circle, and then a half a circle, a light period. What did they do to help us remind us about this, to help us interpret this clock? They built the Sphinx, the Great Sphinx. What does it mean? This is the body of Leo, of a lion, with the head of Aquarius. That is what we see here. It's very obvious, but we didn't see it for thousands of years. So what does it actually mean? This is a moment in time. What moment in time? How can we precisely know what moment it was? To help us find that exactly right moment, we have to look at the shafts in the Great Pyramid. And those shafts are aligned to certain stars. It's aligned, of course, to Sirius, the dance partner of Helios. It's aligned to the lowest star in the belly of Orion, and Orion's belt. Sorry, belly belt. And these two stars also. We first saw Tuban. We saw in the previous part, Tuban is on the circle of the precession, and also this one is related to the precession cycle. So the pyramid builders chose 4 stars to help us remind about the precession cycle. That's why they did it. The only thing we have to do now is to find the exact moment in time when those stars were perfectly aligned with the shafts inside the Great Pyramid, from the King's Chamber and the Queen's Chamber. And that moment, according to my calculation, is 2309 BC. So we know that this moment is nearly 2300 BC. We just go back in time. We'll do that later. These three pyramids represent, everybody knows that because of the work of Robert Bauval, represent the stars in the belly, in the belt of Orion. And that's exactly what we see. We see here 3 stars horizontal. Yeah, they are horizontal here. What does that mean? It means that the stars of Orion in the belly, in the belt, were rising horizontally. And that was around 11,000 BC. Yeah, we saw them nearly all the same time rising above the horizon. So when we go back 2 times this period, 4,320 years, then we come here. 10,949 BC. That was the moment here. That is when Leo started. So that means that after a period, we are now here. After nearly 13,000 years. This is what we should see now. And that is true. When we take a picture of Orion rising, we see these formation. First one, this rises, then the second one, then, and then the third one. So that means that this is the current time. And that will be 2012. That is the moment when we hit the light period again, when we go to the age or the eon of Aquarius. So we had 13,000 years